So I made it outside for the march. Every morning I wake up, I gotta get up and get out. I've lived in that house for 5 years, plus years. This is my 6th year being there. This is my home. I spent the last 5 years trying to rebuild my life, be a decent person, be a decent roommate, bring dignity to the house. And due to years of just bad behavior, just putting up with the shenanigans of this company, I was forced to fly a black flag, exercising my First Amendment rights. And that's basically what's going on right now. On the full moon of April, I believe it was the 23rd, I flew a black flag on the property here in Petaluma, California. It's a Three Roca Petaluma, Three Roca Drive. It's a city property. My daughter was cautioning me about actually putting the address out there, but it doesn't matter to me. It's a city property. And it's a veteran's house. It's been a veteran's house for years. And for years, a specific nonprofit has been the leaseholder. And that specific nonprofit is a 501c3. And they are in the business of basically treating veterans like a commodity. And it's a really unfortunate situation in our 501c3 programs. You know, the things that we fund as a society, we need to have a little more oversight than we actually have, because these companies can sit there and design a model that basically checks the box just enough in order to qualify for funding. They hire top-notch grant writers to use their flowery language, and of course they have the backing of the nonprofit, so they can say whatever they want, essentially, because the nonprofit's going to sit there and say whatever they want. And I say that in a way that sounds shady, like there's a core systemic corruption. And I'm saying that there is. That's why I'm saying it, because there is a systemic corruption. And there's multiple. It's not just this one particular nonprofit that is guilty of it. It's basically there's a bunch of them. We'll put it that way. There's a bunch of them, and essentially what they do is they all just barely check the block enough in providing service to veterans in order to qualify for funding. And essentially what that turns them into is sort of the middleman. I mean, that's just pretty much it. You know, there's like we the people, we want to help our veterans because our veterans serve. They go out there and they dodge bullets and die in the field so that we the people can have our everyday lives and live our normal everyday things and do whatever. So we should support our veterans. You know, we should try to make sure that after all that, after the sacrifice, if you've actually survived it all, that you can live your life in some form of dignity. You know, you're not sitting there and being manipulated. You're not being toyed with and basically used like a commodity. So, again, there's been years and years and years of bad behavior that I've been a witness to. I've been, it's been perpetrated against me, basically. I mean, I'm not trying to claim myself as a victim, because the reality is I've been fighting against them and their company for years now, to my own detriment. There's so much detail that actually needs to be done or said, and I've struggled with this video because, again, there's a 7-year timeline, and I've been involved in this situation since 2017, is around June 17. And again, I've sort of been thrust into the middle of it, and it's hard to describe without getting too far into the weeds with details. But essentially what had happened, there was an unfortunate legal situation that I found myself in, and there was a business situation between me and my younger brother, and I ended up in jail. And it was a bogus charge. I stand by that. I believe that even today, at this point, which is 7 years later, that even today, a proper investigation would actually uncover that it indeed was a bogus charge. But in this society, if you don't have a lawyer, if you can't afford a lawyer, whoever sits there and brings a charge first, generally speaking, is the one the cops are going to listen to. And that's basically what's happened here. And again, not to go too far into the details on that, because there's a lot of personal stuff between me and my brother, and it was just sort of a whatever charge. Bottom line is, the courts, they, in their efforts to try to help out veterans, they created this thing called Veterans Court. And what this Veterans Court was designed to do, at least in my case, was to give me an opportunity to have my record expunged. Because the reality is my entire adult life, I've only ever tried to do what is right. And my record actually reflects that. And so when this charge hit me, it was a big hit. I didn't like it. I knew that it was going to affect me, and it did. It was one of those things that up until I was able to actually get it off my record, that it was affecting my ability to earn a living. Before I was able to get it off my record, I even tried to hire on over at Uber, go drive, just do an Uber drive because I had a car, sit there and use your car like an asset. Makes sense, right? Yeah, they wouldn't hire me. And so even for something like that, for this lame charge, so I was very motivated to want to get it off my record. And so this Veterans Court, they offered an opportunity. So, and again, it wasn't a condition of my release. I was being released. I already did my time. I actually had to petition the court to stay in jail longer because they were just going to release me to the street. The situation that I was involved in at the time, I was actually living in my brother's house. I'd recently moved down from Mount Shasta after, basically getting rid of my apartment to move down to Sonoma County. I was up there going to school, using my GI Bill, and I came down here, and then stuff went downhill within just a couple months. I mean, it was really fast. I was in jail. Like, by April 1st, I think I was in jail. I moved down in January of 17, and by April, I was in jail. And it went south super fast. That being said, I did my time. Courts were going to release me to the street. I'm like, that ain't cool. I don't understand how the court would just be like, oh yeah, go be homeless somewhere. It's like they kind of assisted in all that, you know, rather than again doing a proper investigation to see what's really going on. They just start shuffling people's lives around, and the next thing you know, they're going to try to release you to the street, and you're just going to be homeless. And I was like, no. It's like, I haven't even talked to anybody from the VA. I haven't talked to anybody about anything. Nobody really explained anything. Like, I wasn't even 100% sure why I was in jail. So they finally got somebody in there to talk to me, some rep from the VA or whatever. I don't even exactly know what he did, but he came and he talked to me, and he arranged it so that I could go through his veterans court. So I go in there, and it was maybe like 10 days after I petitioned to stay in, and they gave me the deal. They were like, look, we will scrub your record if you go through the Hearn House program. And they were patting themselves on the back with this one, because it was like killing two birds with one stone. And I gotta preface by saying that, like, I think that they don't really realize how bad the Hearn House program is. But in reality, what they did is they sentenced me to more time. And as a matter of fact, it was more than a year. Because the time at the Hearn House was actually more stressful than the time I spent in jail. So, and it wouldn't even be hard to prove that. Like, that's a statement that I'm making right now. But when I was in the Hearn House, because of their system and how they are set up and how they have specific blocks to check in order to get funding, there are certain things that they have to do, like help veterans get in contact with the VA system, like, you know, the clinics and all that kind of stuff. And so they did that. And so after getting out of the military, combat medic, I was struggling. PTSD and all that kind of stuff for years. And I didn't reach out to the VA, So I can say that the Hearn House at least did that. And kudos to, the system of making sure that these nonprofits are actually doing that, or at least doing that. Because I was able to link up with the VA, and, I got my name in the system, and I was able to, get health care and go to the dentist and see a psych doc about the PTSD issues, And so I was assigned a case manager for this from the psych department in Santa Rosa up there at the VA clinic, and I was doing outpatient, like group therapy stuff with other veterans, and it was great. I mean, that was actually really good, because it was a chance for me to actually link up with other veterans that could sort of verify that I'm not alone in all this. I'm not alone in how I feel about all this, and it wasn't even just like contemporary soldiers. They're like most of them were actually Vietnam era veterans, which was pretty amazing. And then there was, I think we had like one. He's a Korean War. And so that was, it was humbling actually to just realize that there are these guys that they've been struggling for years and they're still struggling, but as a group, we were able to hash out a lot of stuff. We were able to talk about a lot of stuff. I was able to share. I mean, every time I was in there and I shared, they all were like blown away by the stuff that I was telling them about what's going on in the Hearn House. So my testimony had been shared with all those folks who were in that group, but also, I mean, the case manager that I was assigned, a psychiatrist, Dr. Nazarian is her name. She, great lady, I hadn't ever had to deal with that sort of therapy before or anything like that, so I didn't know. I thought that she was like my psych doc or whatever, but she was actually just a case manager. So initially when I met her, we had our intake appointment and whatever. She assigned me to the group. I was like, all right, cool, fine. And then it was like a week later or whatever, I think I had my group. But before that, I had actually called and rearranged another appointment because I was like, man, I was just stressing out, you know. And it was like a day in and day out thing. And she was surprised because I'd just been in there, you know, and I was under the assumption that she was actually my counselor, but she was just a case manager. And so I was going in there actually to talk to a counselor. And she was just like, oh, what are you doing? Kind of a thing. And I was like, oh, well, this is what's going on. And I'd explained to her, you know, and I'd already told her all the stress and all the other stuff that had been going on at her house. And she had asked me if I wanted her to make a phone call and say, you know, and I told her, I was like, I don't think that there's anything that you could do or say that would stop it, you know. And she'd be like, she said, you'd be surprised. And I don't know if she ever did reach out, I don't know, but she offered it. Nothing ever changed, so I kind of doubt she did. I guess my point is that I made an official appointment with a psychiatrist, a doctor, and my story had been told all those years ago about the level of stress in that place. And it's like a continual thing. It's a continual thing. And a part of the reason why they get away with it is because it's like everybody knows what it's like, I think. When the holidays are coming up and you're getting ready to invite family over or something like that, and you're like, got last minute cleaning I got to do, right? Or whatever that may be for you. Well, if there are ever any kind of investors or any kind of bigwigs or anybody from the VA or anything like that ends up doing a walkthrough over at the Hearn House or at any of their programs for that matter, it's just like what people do at home. There's like a last minute thing that they do. It's like for the most part the place is we'll say clean relatively, definitely superficially, but, and I say it like that because it's crazy what people say in front of other people when they think they could just get away with stuff. And there's this one person, and you know, she works there. She's long time. Like her name's Mary. Her name will be coming up in this story. But I remember her overhearing her talking to somebody about how she felt about the Hearn House when she would go home after work. And she talked about basically having a mudroom in her house. And that before she entered her home, that she would basically take off her work clothes in the mudroom because that's how dirty the Hearn House made her feel. And I don't blame her. Again, I was a combat medic, you know, so I am absolutely aware. Like when I was there, they actually, because they don't have any kind of real good system for bringing people in a way that wouldn't contaminate other people. Basically, they just bring them in. And so there was the point where I was there, and there was an issue where they brought some dude in, and all of a sudden, the house got bed bugs, you know, and it was like, oh man, you know, and it was just this huge thing, and it was like, it's literally because they don't have a good system in place. And I say that because, again, I have, you know, experience as a medic, and we did a lot of stuff. We did like contamination kind of stuff, like where you got MBC stuff, right? So nuclear, biological, and chemical kind of trainings where you learn how to set up and decontaminate and do all these kinds of things. And so it's like, if you know you're pulling people out of the bush and bringing them into a household, why wouldn't you absolutely make sure that you weren't bringing in somebody who's got lice or somebody who's got bed bugs or something along those lines? I mean, they don't do that at all. There's no screening for that at all. Like in jail, at least traditionally, you know, you sit there and you watch movies where people end up in prison and you get dusted with powder, bro. So again, there's just a very limited amount to what they do. They do so little at that house, and there's so much that I could say about it. And I don't want to get too far into the weeds, because that's going to end up being a 3-hour video. And this has already been like 15-20 minutes. So the bottom line is, we got years and years and years of bad behavior. And my testimony, again, it's a straight line testimony. I was picked up by the police. I was put in jail. I was put in the Hearn house. And then from there, I moved to the Roca house. And I've been there ever since. And so my entire last 7 years experience has been a direct, in direct contact and dealings with this group. And I've witnessed collateral damage in other people's lives, collateral damage in my life. I've witnessed these people go as far as deleting text message information so that they can get rid of a timeline, so that they can basically gaslight, they can deny somebody's story and gaslight. And that right there actually is a current issue. One of the representatives of this nonprofit has actually done that to me. They're currently trying to diminish my voice and shut me up because I flew that black flag. And I knew that it was going to be an issue. The day that I did it, I knew that it was a point of no return. And ever since I did, I've been a target, because I basically, when I flew that flag, I exposed my position. And ever since that day, I've been under attack. Ever since that day, I've been harassed. On day one, you can see in the video, the day that I flew it, I was initially being harassed. Initially, I was being threatened that they were going to steal away and tear down my voice, tear down the flag, the distress flag that I flew. That's my First Amendment right. I don't care. I don't care if you understand it. I don't care if you agree with it. I don't care if you think you own the building. I don't care. That is my house. I've been there for 5 years. I have a right to fly a flag out there to signal distress if I want to, and I'm doing that. Or I did. I did do that, and it flew for 21 days. And then they stole it away. It flew for 21 days, and then they stole it away. So the day I flew it, I wasn't sure exactly what to expect. It was a stressful day. The night before, I went through like a dry run. I had to figure out, okay, I need to get out there and do this, because I knew as soon as I did, it was going to be intense, and it was, as per the video. And it really is unfortunate. The person in the video is, or at least I thought he was, my friend. But you can see in the video, initially, he's like, gonna steal away my First Amendment right. And this is a combat veteran who's yelling this stuff. This is the thing that actually makes me sick about this person right now. This is the thing that I'm like even kind of cringing about saying on video right now. But I gotta say it because it doesn't make sense. This is actually part of the evidence that I'm pointing at that says that whatever's going on with this nonprofit is damn near cultic. It's like a cult. Because I don't understand how in the hell they were able to convince a combat veteran to shit all over the Constitution that he swore to uphold. Guaranteed I could sit there and be watching TV with that same person, and then we could be watching the news, and then something come up about First Amendment, and then we would all sit around and talk about, yeah, we got to stand for that First Amendment or whatever. And as soon as it's a real thing, every other veteran in that house cooperated in trying to squash my voice. Like, one of them is just a bad actor. One of them was actually the reason why I had to re-engage the company. So that's sort of a whatever thing. Then there was my friend. I was surprised about that. And then there was this other person, and he actually threatened me with violence 2 times. So basically since April 27th, when I started the march, I've been under threat. I do still live at the house, but I am not safe there. I'm out on the march all day. I go and I do my march, and I stay away until the afternoon, like late afternoon, and then I sneak my way back into my room and I just hunker down in the room. And then in the morning, I wake up early, get showered, and sneak out before anybody even knows I was there. Because any time that I'm around leaves me open to some jackass trying to get physical with me, or say something, or trigger me, or try to cause some sort of a confrontation. And that's actually the MO of this company. They have been known to weaponize the police. And I'm saying that because I witnessed it, them doing it to some other person, but also in this incident they've done it. And to explain that situation, the day that I flew the flag, look at the video. The person in that video who is yelling, screaming around, is a current board member of that nonprofit. He also lives in the house. He absolutely knows all the details. Every single detail he is 100% aware of regarding everything that has gone on over the last 5 years. He is absolutely aware of the bad behavior and the shenanigans of this nonprofit. He sits on the nonprofit because he sees it as an opportunity to, in his later years, he's in his 50s now, like maybe 55 or something, he sees it as an opportunity to kind of shine in the public eye. So they've given him that. It's like a token. And I say it that way because 5 years ago, that same guy, they were trying to 86 along with the rest of the guys who were living in the house. So there's a strategy to why he's sitting on that board. And a part of it is to block. And that's exactly what he's doing. And it might not make a lot of sense there, how I've said it right there, and I hope that it does. And I feel like it's sort of irrelevant if it doesn't. I mean, it's because, again, this is like, I knew that I've been trying to make this video. I've been trying to do a testimony. I've been trying to figure out how to actually do it. And it's because there's so much that needs to be said. The technology that I have, it's like, I'm working it, you know. I got my camera, my mic, and all that kind of stuff. But I've been having issues with it. And I was working with a script, and that ended up having issues, and ended up being like, you know, I need to figure out how to do this. And so I figured this morning, I'm like, I'm just going to wing it. Because I posted the other day that I was going to have a video talking about this stuff on Saturday. And so I'm doing my best to actually have something for Saturday right now. And I'm also doing my best to not shoot myself in the foot, because I'm aware that this is a very complex legal issue. And I actually need to talk to a lawyer. There actually needs to be an investigation. There actually needs to be a forensic investigation, as a matter of fact. And to try to get that kind of visibility, to try to get that kind of support, it's almost impossible. It's actually really pathetic to think about that it's that difficult. But it is. It is what it is. Hi. There was a tech issue. Like I was in the middle of recording earlier this morning, and I'm having issues with my phone right now. I'm gonna have to make some storage space. I have to go through and scrub a bunch of stuff. It is annoying me right now. It seems like one tech issue after another. So I'm finishing this. I'm wrapping this right now. I'm gonna attach some of the, edit this to the other, and upload it and get it to where I can post it. And there's going to be another video. There's going to be follow-up videos is what I'm trying to say here. There is a lot that needs to be said, but right now I need to kind of wrap this, finish this, and get what I already have out there. It's about a half an hour video anyway, and I think it's kind of like at least leading you down the path to show that it's like there's some stuff that needs to happen, some legal issues that need to be addressed, and I'm moving forward with it. The truth is, like, there's a breaking point in every situation, and there's no way that I can walk away from this without making them accountable, and that's really what's going on here. And I need public support. I've been working my ass off trying to get public support, and it hasn't been easy. You know, it's a First Amendment issue, and people want to act like it's a whatever thing, and it's first for a reason. People need to remember that it's first for a reason. And again, if you don't, I don't care if you understand it. I don't care if you agree with me. I don't care if you think legally that they're in completely within the law with whatever they did. I don't care. Actually, I mean, I can easily show that it's like there's serious ethical and moral issues going on. I'm very sure that there's some legal issues going on, but at the same time, I need to talk to a lawyer. There needs to be a proper investigation, and I would say that a solid forensic investigation would probably surprise the heck out of people, because there's a lot of just weird shenanigans. There's like a strange lack of transparency that goes on with this company. There's a strange type of compartmentalization that goes on with this company. There's weird things, you know, like, again, over a year ago, I was trying to sit there and actually get a refund of monies that they owe me, and they just kicked the can down the road, and they were just like, all of a sudden I didn't hear anything. And it was only recently that they've tried to sit there and essentially pay me off with way less than what they actually owe me. So it's like money coming in, but it's like I can't cash that check because I don't agree with them. And what comes up with that again is and this is the third try. I keep running into storage issues with my phone. I just jumped in there and deleted a bunch of stuff, and I'm hoping I didn't delete anything I needed. Yeah, I'm just trying to wrap this real quick because it's been a long day, and I need to basically take the 3 videos that I made so far. You know, the original from this morning, the one that just cut out on me because I needed to fix the storage issue, and now this to just try to finish and wrap this little series. I'm gonna edit together and make one good one. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. There's going to be more videos to come. I'll uncover more stuff. And tomorrow, if I can figure out the storage issue, my plan was to sit there and try and do like a Sabbath, like actually take video of the actual march and just see if I can actually get the entire march on video and then edit it together and see if I can make something interesting out of it. Because it's Sonoma County, for crying out loud, so it's actually really a beautiful scenic route. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it before it cuts out on me again. And I thank you for your time.